Our crew for today consists of Don, also known as Hey Don, Matt, everybody knows Matt, Addie, Monica, Logan, myself, and Janice.
You've been here before, haven't you?
No, we've never been here before.
Yeah, it had Fifi and Doc, I believe, both of them.
Make it better, right? Basically, some families here.
Okay.
Oh, all of it? It's not like it was a bunch
You owe him lunch.
Well, yeah, we do. Yeah, thank you for saying that.
Oh, so you're gonna ding us for the most expensive part. You're like my father.
I'm trying to work this here now.
Here, I'll pay for this. You can get the next one. We'll go
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be 1,000-pounder, 500, 250. We don't have the fire bombs are about that long, about that big around.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've seen footage of 29s dropping them, it looks like a 52. There's so many that will come out of there, and that plane goes right back up. But you know a lot of this. You guys probably know some of what I'm telling you. I know you do, is being around airplanes. The B-17, the Memphis Belle type airplane, and the B-24 were the other two heavy bombers of World War II, other than this. They carried roughly 9,000 pounds of bombs, and I'm just giving you rough figures here because they vary. 1,500 mile range, so if you go out 750 miles, you better check your gas and head back. And they operated 15,000, 20,000 feet, freezing cold with a heated suit, no air, no pressure. The 29 comes along, 30,000 feet, 32,000, pressurized cabin, tube, aft, back with the gunners, carried 20,000 pounds. There's 2 bomb bays, 10,000 in each compartment, and a range anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 miles without refueling, depending on the mission. The standard would be about 3,000 miles. The only airplane that could get from the Marianas to Japan is 1,500 miles one way and get back without running out of gas, which they did anyhow. They ran into headwinds. I'm just giving you this little background, and then I'll take you up here.
Look at this.
Oh
man.
That's insane.
Usually,
I know it. Isn't that
it's about
cool?
we're kind of
Look
full
at
house
that.
now. Yep. Okay, now what you came through is a pressure bulkhead. And here's the door.
This was pressurized and it goes in.
Well, and see now that tube was pressurized.
Well, it'd have to be because there's no seal here. So
Yeah.
And see, the thing on the 29 that most people don't know, and I did myself, my dad trained crews on these up at Walker Army Air Base during the war. And he told me all about the gun system and stuff, but I never really understood it until I started working on this. This airplane, this particular plane, was not outfitted for combat. It was made toward the end of the war in the Army Air Corps. They wanted to use it for radar calibration. So they made the squadron Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and the Wicked Witch, and the squadron was stationed up in upstate New York. So that's where it spent most of its time. But had this airplane been outfitted for combat, there would have been a turret there with 4 50 caliber machine guns. Down here, about this far down, there'd be a magazine, shelves. We have such a thing upstairs you can look at. This is an access door for the one on the bottom. There would be twin 50s down here. On the top, just ahead of the fin, another turret, twin 50s, one bent below, and then a tail gun. So they had 5 turrets on this airplane.
Wow.
Nobody in the turret. And this is the neat part about this airplane. For 1943, 44, this is hard for me to believe either. All the gunners sat in the back. All remote controlled guns. The guy that sat in the chair that you can see sitting down there, they called the barber's chair. He was the head gunner. And he had a bunch of switches. We have one upstairs you can look at. That guy on that top chair, and he has a blister over him that you can see out of it, and he had a sight in there. The 2 side blisters, those 2 fellows had sights on a stand. I call them sighting devices because that's what they were. He could actually hook any one of those sights, his own or those 2 fellas, or the bombardier. If you look ahead of the pilot's or the co-pilot's console, you'll see a gadget. The one down there in the front, that's a Norden bomb sight. But the other one is a gun sight. He could pull it on a couple arms, he could pull that around, now he's a gunner. That guy back there could switch any turret to any one of the gun sights.
Oh, wow.
And each gunner could fire up to 2 turrets at a time. I took the engineering books home and studied them. I didn't get through when I picked that thing. But what's really cool about this airplane, General Electric came out with something called the parallax system, and they used gyroscopes. And I think I finally figured out how it actually works. If you go upstairs, you'll see the gun sights all had a gyroscope for horizontal and one for vertical. And if you ever have a gyroscope in your hand, you try to move it, it resists. And the faster you go, the more it resists. Well, every one of those turrets had a corresponding computer, an analog computer. And we have one upstairs. And that computer could measure that resistance electronically and would figure out how far to lead the target. So when you have your gun sight and you're fighting in on a fighter, you don't try to put the crosshairs out here like you would if you're in a 17 or a 24 or something, trying to figure out how far to lead it, how much to raise it. That's what the computer did.
Wow.
Now I've never read this in writing, but I talked to 3 or 4 of the old guys that were on the gun system, and they all told me they knocked down 80% of what they shot at.
Wow.
They had to go up against MiGs.
Yeah.
One B-29 actually shot down 2 MiGs, and I never knew this till a couple weeks ago.
I've heard that.
That's amazing. Because the technology is for that. You know, it's so simple that it's actually genius if you think about it.
They even had a Stratus.
Yeah. Well, now what we did. Now, when you go upstairs, you know, we've been blessed with the people on this crew. They can make anything. Frank Berry made 2 full-size exact replica of what that radio man would look like and what this would look like. This had a bunch of Loran equipment in here. But we have to have at least 3 up here, pilot, co-pilot, and the flight engineer. We'd have to pretty much have that. In fact, if you might only have 1 pilot, but you got to have a flight engineer. He can't run back and forth and tweak the engines. he has the throttles, but we only use them on the ground to steer the airplane. They say he's the hardest working guy on the airplane.
He's got to be,
Yeah.
because the pilot and the co-pilot don't have much for instrumentation.
No.
Look at what he's got.
It's just it's amazing. I flew one.
That is just too cool. I had no idea they were just sighters.
Oh, that's really cool. I'd like to go down to Barksdale.
Yeah. I grew up in the farm, like that.
Okay, so that was our first day show.
Yeah. Okay.
That was fun.
It's a skid plate.
You know what this is?
ATC.
I don't think it's a relief tube.
Is it?
It's not.
What is it?
It's Cremains ejector.
Oh.
It's a what?
Cremains ejector.
She gets stuck, one of us got to go in there and get her. If she gets stuck, one of us got to go in there and get her.
Okay, there I go.
One in the back.
They actually carpeted it for me. Oh my goodness. Glad I don't have to do this very much. And I'm super glad. Oh wait, I gotta come back out?
No, you just go through the other end.
It looks like, oh I see. What are you doing?
Coming up behind you. Little race? Yes, until she slowed me up.
Yeah, I gotta get all y'all in here.
Close, you got to turn around and come
I know it, I thought that at first. Okay, here I come. Oh, goodness.
Your bones cracking there, babe?
No.
Well, I was going fast until this old lady up here in front of me
Oh, I'm
slowed
trying
me
to
up.
do filming as well, you know?
Your turn.
Like giving birth. This is your room, Logan. Look, there we go.
Feel good aileron.
Hey, they do have some Sims. Do you need to get some currency? I don't think those are FAA approved, huh?
Following a narrow stairway, you can get up to the original control tower, which was in operation at the Wichita Municipal Airport from 1935 to 1954. In the distance, you can also see McConnell Air Force Base from the control tower. The yellow Goodyear plane is a 1944 Beech Stagger Wing. And the blue and yellow aircraft is a 1930s Watkins Skylark. The red Texaco airplane is a 1931 Stearman Model 4D. This is a 1921 Laird Swallow. And on the other side is basically a cutaway so you can see the workmanship and the craftsmanship of how the plane was put together, as well as all of the controls. Growing up next to Barksdale Air Force Base when we were in junior high, they would bring out a Link trainer, and if we passed the written, we got to fly the simulator. Now, the one we had a canopy over it, so it was my first foray into flying under instruments.